Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Free Rotation Nation. It's another episode of what we do here for some reason.
We do done did.
I'm Chris, and I'm here with Bobby.
Hi, Dad.
I'm here with Miss Angela.
Hello.
And Miss Beckala.
Hello, Papa. Hello.
And, Jesus. This week we're going to be talking about kind of like a local legend / celebrity / fortune teller / oracle
/ ghost
/ all kinds of crazy things. Her name was Mahalie Lancaster. She is pretty big in these parts. So my family had been to see her before she passed away. My wife's family had been to see her. She was like a local being like within 3 counties, like oracle. Like everybody went and saw her at some point or another if you lived around here.
I was real jealous when I was like, no, none of my family would have gone to see her because, Iranians and stuff like that.
My family went too.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
We still have the reading for my wife's mom.
Yeah.
I was listening and reading about some of her stories, and I was like, damn, this woman be thug. I want to be her when I grow up. That's who I want to be.
She was actually crazy.
She was actually fucking crazy, but she's like, who would mess with her?
Yeah, nobody.
Yeah, exactly.
The fact that she stuck a marble in her eye socket, I think that's amazing.
Look at Bobby's face.
You stick those in your butthole, your urethra,
right?
not in your eye.
Yeah.
Because she didn't have an eye. You had to if she was like the Mad Eye Moody.
You know what? I could never. I find though how she lost her eye. That bothered me.
Everyone has a one-eyed snake.
Okay.
Speaking of one-eyed snakes.
So here's what we're gonna say. I took some notes on kind of the basics to kind of give y'all the gist, and then we'll get into like some of the local tales about her that may or may not be true, but they're all first-hand accounts from people I know. And then she was long dead before I was born, so I never got to meet the lady. Apparently, she was fairly accurate in her fortune-telling, and it's kind of crazy. So,
fair enough.
Mahalie Lancaster, she was born on October 18th, 1875 in Heard County, Georgia. She died in 1955. I can't get an exact...
November 22nd.
Okay, yeah. November 22nd. She was a local fortune teller. She was said to have been bored with a call when she was born.
That's like old school Southern superstition too. Well,
I've heard about that my whole life.
I was born with it.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's that?
A call is the placental sac where it's like draped across their face.
It's like a sign.
It's supposed to be a sign that it's good luck and prophetic. And the child will be touched. Through the veil. Yeah.
Unless you have an Irish grandmother who believes that you're just being summoned by the devil, Angie.
Yeah, that's why she'd never talk to me. She'd never even acknowledge I existed. Because I was evil.
I'll kill her.
She's probably long
gone.
Again.
I'll dig her up. I'll fucking do it.
To the point when she went to my mom's funeral and she saw me there, she just turned and walked out.
She do of
her own daughter's funeral.
We never saw and spit through her hand and walk away.
And
then she was gone. Yeah, pretty much.
That's aggressive.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that from now on. That sounds amazing.
I mean, how many kids have you met that had a call on their face and they're like, I see ghosts. I know one. That would be her.
So I'm going to assume this was probably a thing when people were doing home births more so often than doctor births. I'd be willing to bet it probably doesn't happen anymore with science.
I was about to say C-sections are
to be fair, and this is going to sound a little weird, but my mother was in a mental institution when she went to labor with me. Because she saw something that sent her into...
Sent her over the edge.
Yeah, into a madness right before... And then she went into labor. So, there we go.
Really? We should do an episode just about you. I feel like some days. Just some of the stuff you say, you're like...
We need to make a mini-series on Netflix about Angie's childhood and life.
She said she wasn't feeling well, so my dad was gambling and... playing with my uncle, as you would. And she went to lay down, and then he eventually came in the room with Michelle and laid down. So Michelle was sleeping between them. And she woke up and she saw this spot of light that got bigger and bigger. And it became like this demonic figure pointing and laughing at her. And then when it disappeared, she couldn't move. It was like sleep paralysis. Yeah. And when it disappeared, she immediately went into labor with me and lost her shit. So for the first 3 months of my life, my grandmother took care of me because she was in a mental institution. That's why we never, I guess, bonded. That's what's wrong with me, to be fair.
Yeah, you weren't getting that titty milk early enough.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So, yeah.
No, Chris,
and that's why my grandma determined I was evil, because not only did a demon laugh and send her into labor, but then I was born with no face. So, and then my dad's mom named me after his girlfriend he was cheating with. So, yeah. You know what? Maybe I would make a good story.
That's what I'm fucking. That's
like,
episode 1 right there.
I feel
what
like Loretta
a tangled
Lynn.
web we weave.
Yeah.
I can guess. I can cameo. I can be like the narrator, like the dude from Unsolved Mysteries, and just cut in during points. I'm
Wearing a weird trench coat.
I like pretend to crawl out of a vagina like full grown. Be fun.
Mahalie.
Back on top.
Anyway.
So she died in November 22nd, 1955.
Yeah, I mean, she was, 80 years old, so
Yeah.
what are you going to do?
She lived through the Depression.
Well, that was also, 80 years old in the 50s. That's a pretty good run.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Supposedly she was a lawyer and a businesswoman. I can't see a business she ever actually owned that had her name on it, and that no one can actually find any of her law stuff.
She owned the bank. She bought the bank.
So she didn't run it. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, when they said she was a businesswoman, like, I don't think she actually ran any business.
You can have it. But yeah.
But back in those days, things were a little fast and loose.
Loosey-goosey.
Maybe they referred to her oracle telling as a business. Yeah. Maybe.
So maybe, and I guess that makes sense. She had a thing at her house when you walked in to get your fortune told or whatever, and it was $1 for me and a dime for my dogs, is what she told everybody. So it was $1.10 to get your fortune read, which my whole family paid her gladly, apparently, because we were all backwoods country hicks with that lady can see the future. Let's go talk to her. I mean,
that's just really what I want to grow up to be. I want to be an old crazy lady who reads your fortunes.
Well,
in
and
the
she
back
wouldn't
of the
hold
woods.
back either. She'd be like, "Yeah, you're gonna die next year."
She legit told people that, like,
"Oh, I know,
you're gonna be dead in 3 months."
One of the best stories that I ever heard was about a group of kids who went to see her, like in high school, and she was reading their fortunes, but refused to read one kid's fortune, and they left, and one of the kids came back and said, well, why wouldn't you read my friend's fortune? And she said she doesn't have one. She doesn't have a future. And they got in a car accident that night, and she died. I was like, oh, shit.
But if she would have just said that, maybe it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, but she kind of, always caught me as the type of person who's like,
This is
she a hoe anyway.
I don't control it. I can see
it's going to happen regardless.
Not in my control.
Yeah, there's no such thing as free will.
It's going to get you.
Say that,
Well, the thing is, like, when you think about that kind of thing, like, if you have that gift where you can see the future, if you start affecting it, you may be able to see the next future down the line, because it's going to affect whatever happens. If you tell her don't get in a car and she doesn't, something else is going to happen. I've always thought about that, like the chain of events, like butterfly effect style. Like, if she was real and she could really see the future, maybe she's like, if I do this, the world ends.
True.
And,
Oh, yeah.
Like Doctor Strange, there's like a million things, but there's only one that is correct.
And since he does impact the current state and the past, the new movie, Spider-Man movie, he impacts the future and messes it up horrifically.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you think about that, like...
Spider-Man, No Way Home.
I'm excited.
Spider-Man, all the Spider-Mans.
I think time travel is possible, and I think we may actually... Scientists or the government or the Illuminati or the Bilderbergs, or whoever you want to say, may have, like, the capability of time travel, but there may be instances where they're like, we go back and kill Hitler. Then they go back and like, oh, it gets way worse if we do that. Like, he has to do this or the end.
It's like that Stephen King book, the one where the dude goes back and saves JFK, but then it's just nuclear holocaust.
Yeah.
So,
it's like John F. Kennedy, 1950.
1963.
Yeah, that's
the book's really good.
It was good.
But yeah, I keep thinking about that, like, even if she is psychic and she can see the future or whatever, and she can foretell what's going to happen, she can see it, she can't interfere because it may get way worse. Like, it may throw off the timeline of whatever.
Yeah, that person could have been like a dictator who overthrew the United States in lieu of China or some shit like that. You never know. You just never know.
Well, it could be the person that, if she got in a car wreck and died, instead of her dying, it could have been like 6 kids in a truck going home from a soccer game or whatever. But
I know what you're thinking, Bobby. Just don't say it.
I'm not. It got real quiet.
Well, I don't know what you're thinking. I need to hear it.
Well, those 6 kids should have just died anyways.
The greater good.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, that may be what she did, though. Yeah. Hers may have been the greater good.
And maybe that's why she was so ill half the time, I mean like in a bad mood, because she couldn't actually help you. She could just tell you, hey, I'm sorry. You're going to die in 2 weeks.
Well, you have to think, like, if she tells that girl, hey, don't get in a car, and whatever happens, that whoever hit her hits somebody else, a kid in that car goes on to marry a girl who happens to have a kid that cures cancer somewhere down the line. Like, that whole lineage is done.
Yeah.
And if she can see it, like,
Yeah.
There comes a point, and I would assume with that kind of power, where you just stop trying to interfere.
Mm-hmm. Maybe she had before, and it had led to horrible consequences.
Or not even horrible, but just you can't save everybody.
Yeah.
Or like
bad things are going to happen.
Like, you know, kids are swimming, and he's about to die. I'm going to save him. While you're saving him, your sister drowns.
Yeah. Or you drown yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean,
or that kid doesn't drown. He grows up to be a murderer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or he grows up to beat his wife, and she's pregnant. I mean, any number of scenarios that are basically infinite, but bad things are going to happen no matter what. So at some point, you'd have to justify it to yourself that I didn't cause this, and I don't control it. It just is what it is. I have to let go.
Mm-hmm.
It's like another show. Have you ever seen the anime Monster?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's good. It's similar situation though. Similar. There's a doctor. One night he's a surgeon, and these two people get rushed in. One of them's like the mayor, and one of them's like a kid that's in a terrible accident. See, I'm going to save the kid. Kid grows up to be a serial killer.
Yeah, I mean,
it's really good.
But people do. Like, people are people, and there's going to be bad things. So at some point, you have to stop trying to control the world.
Yeah.
Because you can't. Like, you just can't. Mm-hmm. So I think that may be part of why she didn't try to tell people, like, don't do this. It's just like, I didn't cause it. I'm not going to end it. You're just asking me what's going to happen.
Yeah. And she read people's fortunes and stuff by their palm. She would look at your hand, which I've always wondered, the marble eye, because she didn't have like a crystal ball or anything. But maybe there's something about that eye that we call it a marble, but what if it was more?
I just say it was a little unsettling, the fact that she would pop her marble eye out, polish it up, give it a little spit shine, and pop it right back in.
Yeah, I mean, you got to keep it lubricated.
Yeah, you got to keep it clean. People do that with their fake eyes now. They put them in a little vial or a little cup and keep it clean.
I have a buddy who has his wife has a fake eye, and
does it stare at you?
They pop it out sometimes for reasons.
No.
Oh, does he skull fuck her? That's gross.
I feel like we've had this conversation before.
But,
that's foul.
But how tiny is your penis that you can do that?
You'd be surprised how big your eye cavity is.
Really?
If that's the real question we're going to get into.
Yeah, look how big the head is. Imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, but you wouldn't it break her eye thing?
I'm not sure if you've ever seen a real penis. They're not breaking any bones.
I haven't really.
It's not an attractive sexual organ. It's just kind of there.
Yeah.
Boobs are nice.
Anywho,
yeah, sorry. Back on topic.
Per slaps, we go back.
Per slaps.
People
per
would,
slaps.
What we're saying, the point was she wouldn't tell you if it was only good. She would just tell you whatever was going to happen.
You asked her and paid for it.
Yep.
You got
good
it.
or bad, you get what she sees.
I kind of am down for that, though. Like, I don't want it to be like, I see in your fortune great wealth. I mean, maybe, but you could also have a really good sandwich in a couple of days. Like, that's so, vague.
I'll take the sandwich, too.
Fuck yeah.
Okay, I get that, but what I'm saying is I'd rather have it real. Like, hey, you probably need to go order a sandwich because you're kind of hangry kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But she wouldn't even do that. She would just tell you there will be a car accident and you will die.
Mm-hmm.
So when my grandma went and saw her, I think it was 51 when my grandma went.
Yeah.
She said two of the kids will be shot. One will die, one will not. My uncle got shot in a parking lot and died. My brother got shot and did not die. And that's the last two people in my family have been shot.
Jesus Christ.
And she flat out said they'll both be young. One will be shot and one will be killed. One will be shot and one will not. And they were both right.
I think I would have just kind of gone to her and been like, I don't need you to read my fortune. Can you just find me something?
Some people did that too.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I would be down for the easy stuff.
I lost my jewelry. I lost my wedding ring. Do you know where I lost it? And she was surprisingly accurate with that.
She'd be like, yeah, you left it at your, adulterer's house.
Yeah.
Well, it was good foreshadowing for what she would do in Murder in Coweta County.
Well, she also did something before then, too. I'm sure that's on your list. Where she defended him?
Yeah.
That's Leo Frank.
I don't know if anybody's familiar with Leo Frank.
Tell me about Anne Frank.
I'm going to do the Murder in Coweta County part.
Okay, so Leo Frank was a Jewish businessman, in Atlanta. It was one of the most... It was the first time, I think, that they really talked about how Jews in America were also pretty persecuted. So... Leo Frank owned a factory in Atlanta, and back in those days, you had kids who worked there. So he had a child worker named Mary Fagan, and she was brutally killed. Like, one of the most brutal killings in Atlanta they'd ever seen. She beaten, raped, strangled, anything you could imagine was pretty bad. Very little circumstantial evidence came out, but basically it was like, we saw Leo Frank walk down this hallway And it was about the time that she may have been murdered, but we don't know whether it was her.
But he's Jewish, so he probably did it.
Yeah, so he probably did it. And, you know, that we had seen him talk to her at some point. So, of course, it probably was him, even though there was a lot of significant direct evidence leading to somebody else who surprisingly was a black guy. Uh-huh. So this was a big deal, too, because the defense for Leo Frank was alleging a black guy had done it, and
in early 1900s Georgia,
exactly,
who would have thunk it?
Yeah. So the prosecution was like really harping up this guy being like a good old Southern black man, blah 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 blah. Would never do something like that. Like it was a very strange like circumstance. Leo Frank gets convicted. However, they do end up overturning his conviction and commuting his sentence is what it's called, to the point where people are so angry that they end up lynching him. Well, there were very few people who came out in defense of Leo Frank, one of them being Mahalie Lancaster, and she basically was like, he did not kill her. There's no actual evidence to show that he was the one that put his hands around her neck and strangled her. Mm-hmm. Or the rope. I think it was a rope, actually, if I'm not mistaken. But she was a big activist, and I think she did represent him in some capacity, although she did.
Well, she worked with his defense.
Yeah, I think she just worked with his defense team, and that's where they kind of get the lawyer aspect for her.
Gotcha. No law degree that I can find.
No law degree, but she did work with him regarding his innocence.
You can get a law, back then you can get a law degree like in 6 months.
Well, it's kind of true.
Well, she was a woman, though.
You still had to pass the bar.
True.
Mm-hmm. So it was one of the first times her name really came out in a more public setting, other than in this sort of like small regional issue.
Yeah. Didn't it turn out that the guy was a serial child killer?
Yeah.
The black man was?
Yeah. He turned out that he had killed, I think he had killed other people, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. But so it was just the weirdest circumstance because you're in early 1900 South. And you have a white guy on trial, and the prosecution is alleging that this black guy couldn't have done it.
Netflix documentary. Let's go.
It's very strange, but I definitely think if you've never heard the story about Leo Frank, it is a really interesting Georgia case that a lot of law students in this area study, just because of the whole controversy regarding racism and bigotry.
She also testified at John Wallace's trial here locally. And John Wallace was, if you ever saw Murder in Coweta County, it was that trial. Had Andy Griffith and Johnny Cash in it.
And June Carter Cash played Mahalie.
This is interesting.
Yeah, 1983. No. You never heard of this?
No.
Yeah, it was 1950 when it happened, or 1950 when the trial happened, 1948 when the murder happened.
But the
Andy Griffith was like 72.
Yeah.
Did he play Matlock?
No,
he actually played the landowner,
he played the bad guy.
He played John Wallace.
He played John Wallace.
Johnny Cash was Lamar Potts.
Yeah, the sheriff
and
at
June
the time
Carter
in Coweta.
Cash was
my great uncle, Lamar Potts.
Nice. Oh, okay.
I was going to say Johnny Cash. Like, geez, that's kind of cool.
If you ever want to talk about
his wife played Mahalie.
The difference in in this area, especially in the South, the good old boy system. If you ever want to talk about the good old boy system, read anything about Murder in Coweta County because of the way this played out.
And this is also why Mahalie was considered so progressive, because she always ran on equality, not just for women, but for everyone.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you the quick rundown on Murder in Coweta County. So John Wallace lived in Meriwether County, which is adjacent to us. He was the biggest landowner and richest guy in Meriwether, not by a little bit, but by a lot. Yeah. He owned everything, including the sheriff. He owned everything.
Yeah.
He used to have sharecroppers that would work his fields because this is 1940s and slavery's illegal in quotes, but basically slavery. Mm-hmm. One of the sharecroppers, his name was Wilson Turner, was doing some bootlegging on the side, and John Wallace found out about it, and he had not given Turner permission to do this. And that's kind of how this worked. When you were a small tenant sharecropper on someone else's property, you had to have permission to do pretty much anything, especially since this was still the heart of Dixie. Not slavery, but slavery.
And it's funny, and it is funny to hear the whole circumstance regarding how this murder happened, because it is so in this day and age, it's so minute comparatively to stuff now where you have gangs and shootings and stuff like that. But John Wallace was not playing.
No, so he fires the sharecropper. Mr. Turner gets fired from being able to work the property. Basically, Turner gets pissed off, retaliates, and steals 2 of John Wallace's cows. Steal. Turner is caught later. I think it's a month later, basically, in Carrollton. Carrollton Sheriff, which is 30 miles away. Carrollton Sheriff grabs him. They take him back to the Meriwether County Jail. They arrest him. They book him. They say that there's not a preponderance of evidence to hold him and let him go. He walks outside. John Wallace and some of John Wallace's goons are waiting on him.
Mm-hmm. Stuff him in the car.
Before that, Turner freaks out. He realizes what's about to happen. He jumps in his truck and tries to run.
But they had siphoned his gas.
Not all of it, but a lot.
Just enough of it to cause a little bit of an issue.
He runs about 15 miles. He makes it to Moreland, which is on the south side of Coweta County. His truck runs out of gas. He gets out. They grab him. Wallace pistol whips him, supposedly pistol whips him so hard that the gun goes off. Like, he cracks him. They stuff him in a car. That's the last he's really seen or heard of until the story is they took him back to Wallace's house, beat him to death, stuffed him in a well for 2 days, and then took him out of the well, burned his body,
threw him in the river,
ground up the bones, threw the bones into the river. Mm-hmm. At some point during all this, somebody comes forward and tells the sheriff of Coweta County, Lamar Potts, that they saw this murder. Because he made it into Moreland, it was Lamar Potts' territory.
And Lamar Potts don't play.
He was no nonsense.
And he was not owned by John Wallace.
He did not care about John Wallace.
Made a mistake. He killed him in Coweta County.
Yeah, that was the biggest mistake John Wallace made, is if he had stayed in Meriwether County, he would have never even been tried or prosecuted. But, hey, man, you ended up in the wrong county.
So apparently, the story goes, and it's kind of, Lamar Potts gets hold of 2 of John Wallace's goons and convinces, in quotation marks, them to tell him what happened. I imagine there was a lot of pain.
Pistol whipping and...
torture.
Yeah.
This is how you correctly pistol whip somebody.
Threatenings of brandings and cutting off your testicles.
Do you like your family? Because they're dead.
Yeah, whatever he had to do. Well, they told him exactly what happened. He went to the well. They took evidence. They found... And again, this is 1948. There's not, like, DNA evidence, but they did find brain matter on the walls of the well. Mm-hmm. They took him to the creek. They found bone fragments where they had ground his bones and threw him into the creek. He goes and arrests John Wallace, which is unheard of. Like, no one thought this was
he's
gonna
a
happen.
wealthy landowner. Back in those days, he was one of the first landowners to be prosecuted and tried.
He is the richest white guy who ever been tried at this point in Georgia. Not close either. And
And now here's the funny part about all of this. So, I mean, they're talking about who's investigating this case. The sheriff of Meriwether County is like, well, if there's evidence here, it's going to be in my territory. Lamar Potts is like, bitch, he got done murdered here. Just because you got dead bodies in Meriwether County doesn't mean I don't get to come onto your property and walk around.
It was a big legal battle.
It was a huge legal battle because there were, and I mean, this is a perfect example of establishing jurisdiction in the law. Hey, you murdered somebody here. You may have like a dead body concealed on your property in another county, but if you done did the murder,
it's my case.
It's my case.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they try John Wallace. He goes to trial. And basically, he's found guilty on the testimony of, surprisingly for mid-50s or early 50s Georgia, 2 black gentlemen and Mahalie Lancaster are the prosecution's witnesses.
And one of the best things about all of this is that John Wallace was good friends with Mahalie Lancaster. Uh-huh. You know, you're thinking, hey, my buddy Mahalie's coming in to testify on my behalf. She comes in, she's like, he dumped the body in the well. That's where the body went.
Well, here's the thing. You can be good friends, but...
Right is right, wrong is wrong.
Yeah.
So that was The Murder in Coweta County. It's a pretty good book. It's a pretty fun movie. If you want to see Johnny Cash and Andy Griffith be an asshole.
Is it well acted?
Yes.
It was a really good movie.
It gave me nightmares as a kid.
It's on YouTube?
When they were like burning him and grinding him and putting him in the river.
Yeah.
I still have like visuals of Andy Griffith leaning over the river and the bones
just
like
slowly drifting.
And it was Mahalie who told them. She's the one who told Lamar Potts they burned him and put him in the river.
Because Lamar Potts actually went
because
to
they
Mahalie as well.
couldn't find any evidence at first, and she's like, put him in the well. Sure enough, found him. She's like, they burned him, put him in the river. So that's how they were able to find it.
We have to think of how bad they beat him for there to have been brain matter on the wall of the well.
Yeah.
It's rough.
All for stealing 2 cows. And really, it wasn't because of that. It was to make a point.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He was doing it.
Don't fucking steal from me.
Yeah, don't steal. Don't do anything without my permission.
Well, and that's a big thing of hubris right there. Is like, you know, you're in your head, you're thinking, I'm not going to get in trouble. I'm going to go do this and prove a point. But it goes to show that you can buy so many people, but you can't buy everybody.
True.
Well, Lamar Potts was not in Meriwether County, so he didn't give two shits.
That's what I'm saying. He
Wallace.
ain't getting no shits about nothing. He gonna do what's right.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Johnny Cash.
I mean,
and he should have known Mahalie would have testified against him, even though they were good friends. Like she had ran for Senate twice on a premise of people equality, should be treated equally.
I think.
Yeah, huge women's rights activist.
She was. She ran in 1920 or 1922.
Yeah, 22.
She ran for the Senate after they ratified the 19th Amendment, saying that women could vote.
Yeah, and then she ran again in 26. Yeah. She didn't win, but they did institute some of her stuff because she was like, we need better roads, and doctors should have to deliver women's babies even if they can't pay for it. So a lot of stuff that she proposed, they actually ended up doing.
I just love it too because, like, if you think of her, you think of this like crotchety old woman, but she was living in a ramshackled house in Heard County.
Even though she had a nice house,
she did.
She stayed in the shack.
She stayed in the
shack, and they said, I mean, it was pretty clear that she hid money all over the place in where she lived.
But nobody's looking for it.
Yeah,
like
she got the treasure somewhere,
and I'm gonna go find it.
I know.
Oh boy.
I would love to visit her house. I don't know if it's still up. I know
you can visit Mahaley's house.
Yeah, I know you can go see her grave, and that's out in Heard County too, I think.
It is. It's over towards Roopville.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, we should
go for sure.
Yeah, we did a walk last year in a historic cemetery in Coweta County. One of the storytellers was a woman telling the story about Mahalie Lancaster.
Yeah, at Lamar Potts' grave. He's got a little sign to Mahalie on his thing.
Yeah. She's super.
Oh wait, that was Lamar Potts' grave?
That was Lamar Potts. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Was there a gentleman there doing the tour too? Like
an
older
there's
guy,
a couple of
hair?
them. Yeah.
That's Mr. Mark. He does good work.
Yeah, he's very good.
It just goes to show that if you just dig a little deep into where you live, there's always colorful characters around here.
It's interesting. Like there's a lot of history that people don't know about around here, especially. Here is not what it was 15, 20 years ago.
No.
This was a very small town. 30 years ago, this place was tiny. 15 years ago, it was still really small, and now it is metro.
Yeah. I remember when I was a kid, like, all of 34 was woods.
Yeah. Woods.
There was nothing there. Like, what, y'all see? There was a Sizzler.
I remember
high-end steak.
That was it.
Before the Sizzler, it was a Dakota Western.
That's right.
Because we went there every Friday night when I was a kid, and that was our going out to eat. And we ran into all our teachers from school because they were also going out for Friday night because there were two options in this town.
And you'd eat peanuts, throw them on the floor.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Oh, yeah. Any of those, like, Texas Roadhouse places where you can throw peanuts on the floor. That's
like,
when
it was
you know
legit wooden floors.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I loved hearing my granddad's boots click on it.
The Dakota Western Steakhouse. I don't know if if it was a chain or just that one because I've never seen another one. Also went out of business 30 years ago, so I couldn't tell you.
Who knows?
But I remember we would go in there and see all of our teachers. Like, they would be there with their families eating. And they'd all come
It's the only place to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will tell you.
There was Shoney's.
But, dumpster fire.
Yeah.
I was about to say, if I had to rank the 3 weirdest counties in Georgia, the first 2 is going to be Chatham County, where Savannah is, and then Coweta County.
I think Heard County's pretty unusual.
We've never
There's just nothing that goes on.
There's nothing that goes on.
I heard it was.
Yeah.
Hey.
Well, that's where Mahalie was from Heard County.
Yeah,
true. This area is very interesting.
And Carroll County is wild. Like the Native American lore there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Carroll County is also, Villarica is Spanish for rich village because it was the first place they found gold in Georgia.
Yeah.
Nice.
I always tell people, if you really want to come to a state that has a lot of...
We have it all.
Geographical differences, like in North Georgia, you have the mountains, and then you get to Middle Georgia, and it's very much plains, and then you can go to South Georgia, and you're low country.
I don't think there's plains anywhere.
Yeah, all of technically all of Central Georgia is considered.
It's considered plains.
There's no hills;
Okay.
it's just flat.
Yeah,
Georgia,
there's literally a plains Georgia because it's flat.
Okay.
Not like home on the range plains.
Okay.
I get that, but like that.
Rolling wheat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brasstown Bald is
Try doing the bike ride across Georgia and tell me that it's a plains. I can assure you there are hills everywhere.
It is fun though when we go to like Jekyll or whenever we go down to Savannah, and you're so used to being in this area where everything is just a hill, and then suddenly you hit like 95 and it's just flat
And
marshlands, and it's so weird.
That's marshlands, not plains.
I'm not talking about.
She's talking about down towards like Andersonville, like central Georgia, like not Macon, but like South Macon. Like when you keep booking it through there, it's just flat fields of a lot of it's still cotton and peanuts, and it's just as far
like in
as you can
Vidalia,
see.
Georgia.
Yeah, if you come like...
Yeah, I know where the peanuts go. It's pretty flat.
It's just cool to see. There's a place down there that has... They put in a solar farm that you can see for miles. It's just these really big solar panels, and it's really cool, but when you drive up on it, you're like, what's a big spot of black over there? Because it's just...
alien ship?
You just can't tell what it is from 2 miles out, and then you start driving past it, and you're like, that's a lot of solar panels. That's really cool. And I think it was where they were testing to see if it would fly here, like if it was sunny enough, cloudy enough. But it was just cool to see a mile of solar panels, like, and they're spaced out like perfectly, and it's just everything's nice, and you're like, that's a lot of work. A lot of work to put in solar panels.
I will tell you though, the weirdest state though is Alabama. Driving through Alabama to go to Angie's college, there's just nothing. It's just
that's just poverty.
Yeah, that's just
true.
That's poverty.
You can tell the roads when you hit Alabama because no one has. As soon as you cross over, you're like bump, 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 bump.
They are white.
Yeah,
like bleached and just horrific.
I remember when I drove to New Orleans. Oof.
Yeah. New Orleans isn't bad. You go 65.
No, yeah, it was still.
It's fine. 65 is an interstate. The federal government handles that. When you get like over towards like Chehaw and Talladega and Lineville and Wedowee in the middle of nowhere, Alabama.
Oh, God. You'll drive for hours and see nothing.
Nothing.
Except,
little
that
bitty
used
towns.
to be a convenience store.
I was about to say, I did start getting concerned. I'm like, where are we going to fill up on gas?
Well, everyone went to
and I'm like,
Biloxi.
not in
That's
Selma.
similar.
Because Becky's like, we'll stop in Selma. I said, oh, no, we won't. You're going to keep driving. You do not stop in Selma. And it was getting later in the day, too.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, keep driving.
We did find a very nice Texaco, and we stopped at it.
Yeah, that was on the outskirts.
On the
almost
outskirts,
in Marion,
yeah. It was nice. I mean, it's very interesting just driving through the South and just seeing
certain parts
all
are
the
cool.
stuff.
Certain parts when you drive through, like old school, and even parts of Georgia still like this. When you drive through and you can tell, like, okay, this was at some point, this had been a thriving community.
Yeah.
Not really a town or a city, but
just a community.
there was a square and they had money at some point, and it was probably all because of agriculture. And a lot of that really happened during the Depression. Like a lot of those towns went under during the Depression.
Well, you can kind of see it in Griffin.
Yeah,
Griffin
absolutely.
used to be a very thriving farming town, but it didn't really follow into
it used to be one of the most prominent cities in Georgia. Yeah.
Now
they built a railroad to it because it was important.
Now it's very dangerous.
Well, Griffin, Woodbury, any of these like Concord, any of these little towns you drive through, you're like, there was stuff here at some point.
Oh yeah,
long dead.
Used to be very loved.
Yeah,
yeah.
And it's weird to think that like this is where we live, but Noonan could have been that way. Yeah, Luthersville.
Oh,
you drive through Luthersville and you're like, there were stuff here. People owned stores and there were mills and
Well, it used to be here that we would, we'd go to Fayetteville, Peachtree City, because there was nothing here.
Yeah,
now
we had
everyone's coming here.
Well, we had to go, when I was a kid, to go school shopping, to go get clothes. There's a store in Fayetteville called Smith & Davis.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
We had to drive down 54 to get to there. And I remember thinking it was such a long drive from Noonan to Smith & Davis to get school clothes, and now it's like 30 minutes.
I was about to say, it was very weird.
But there was nothing in between.
No. Well, when I went to I'm dating myself on this one, but when we took the SAT, they were building the shopping centers down in Noonan. They were just starting to build it. And I was like, what is this place? Like, I've never been to this area before because there was only a few places you could take the SAT, one being Noonan High School. So we were just driving through, and I'm looking around like, what the hell? Where the fuck am I?
Step back in time.
I know.
Well, I remember when they built the Super Walmart in Noonan, when they closed down the little Walmart. There were people that were there, especially a lot of old timers, that refused to go over there because they would not drive past 85.
Yeah.
They said it was bad luck to cross the interstate, and they refused to do it.
Hey, apparently the Walmart's haunted by the owner of Walmart.
So isn't the Big Lots haunted too?
Sam.
Oh, no, Big Lots is definitely haunted. Remember that night we drove by and saw people moving in there?
Yeah, it was real weird.
Do you actually remember
that?
No.
Okay. I remember. We were actually at Heroes when this happened.
Yeah.
Thieves.
We would hear it all the time. Like, we'd stand outside of Heroes and talk, and you'd just see stuff, and the alarms would go off, and they'd show up because something set it off. Nobody's there. We'd be like, was it us?
I'm telling you, Coweta County is like a vortex, in my opinion.
No, really, there's some ley lines that run across over on the Old Corinth.
Nice.
Yeah, creepy.
Down towards Herd.
Mm-hmm. Down towards Herd, yep. About in Hogansville, which is ba-bum.
But no, there's just like a lot of stories about people and stuff in Coweta that are interesting, that are being lost to time. Like 20 years from now, no one's going to remember who Mahalie Lancaster was. I heard about her because of my family, but I wouldn't have known.
No, I had no idea until we did the walk who she really was.
I had no idea until today.
Yeah, it has you basically have to be a family that's from here and has been here to have heard of her.
Yeah. My mom insisted on watching the murder in Coweta County because they were familiar.
Yeah,
with
they knew
Mahalie
everybody.
Lancaster. She was like, I want you to see who we're talking about. There were lots of family stories about Mahalie.
Yeah.
And like respectfully scared of her. Yeah. You didn't piss her off because stuff would come for you.
Oh, she wore a World War II hat all the time, even when she was like in the 50s.
So, yeah, like occasionally she wore that hat. Not always. But
Eccentric.
I think it's great that
the word
she
is
did.
eccentric.
She dressed in those like old school
back in
like
the day,
Victorian outfits.
It was an old school like policeman's hat.
Yeah.
And then when World War II happened, it was that hat. She was just...
I would dress like that now, though. Like if
I think she was a La Dollar Bean for sure.
A La Dollar Bean, yeah.
I think she was.
I mean, maybe. Whatever.
Yeah. Oh, please don't say anything after me, Mahalie. I'm sorry.
She's long
if
dead.
you're not, yeah.
She's long gone.
Yeah.
Is she? 'Cause
she's thriving in
stuff still
heaven right now.
happens At her stuff.
She's scissoring up there with Jesus.
Ah.
I'm not a real believer, but even I feel blasphemed. Like we're going to hell.
Not us. I didn't say it, and I don't believe it.
Yeah.
Try me, bitch.
Oh my God! This is how
God.
Bobby gets haunted by
Jesus.
Mahalie Lancaster.
No, I was talking to Jesus. She's cool with me. I'm like, God, come on, try. Lancaster, she's
Can
like a
you
nice
not
lady.
get struck by lightning while we're sitting here? Because this is a lot of equipment that I spent a lot of money on.
Get insurance.
No, I don't. Amazon doesn't come with insurance.
Sorry.
Oh God.
I have a quote on my Facebook, on my timeline. I don't know why I quoted it or what it was from, but it just says, I feel like I got mauled by Jesus. And for the life of me, I can't remember what that's from. But now I'm like, Bobby's going to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have those on occasion. Sorry.
So what's interesting about Mahalie Lancaster's grave is it's on the church ground. You can still visit it. And most people leave $1 and a dime still. And you'll find a lot of rocks and gifts still left. So we're talking about her being forgotten, but she's way from that. Like, she's still in folklore here.
Yeah, here.
Like Chris said, the families who know her. They have a problem with, they've set up cameras and stuff to watch because there's a problem with her grave being desecrated. But it's unnaturally desecrated. The stones crack. Like, you would have to have a sledgehammer and 3 men banging to do the damage that's done. Her gravestone cracked right down the center and split, but it stayed together. Nobody can figure out how it stayed upright. The ring of stones around it are cracked in the middle, but fine on the top and bottom.
Yeah.
It's like it's cracking. Like, there's such a force, and a lot of people believe that the spirits there are spirits that are very angry with her and are still trying to reach her and just damaging anything they can get of hers.
Oh,
her
God.
house has a lot of paranormal activity. People report, nobody's ever reported seeing her,
Yeah.
but just these spirits.
Well, you would think that if she's maybe she's communicating with spirits or whatever, they could be trying to reach her again.
Well, and it's interesting in the medium community. They were talking about how they get their guides and stuff. How you get a guide, because there's this one guy, and I can't remember the name of his YouTube channel. It has the word purple in it. I just can't remember. But he's picked up Shadan Watts as a spirit guide. So somebody asked him, like, why not Mahalie Lancaster? You never hear about her being a spirit guide. And he's like, oh, she's not about that life. She's gone, and she doesn't really come back and speak to me.
That would really be a person out. That is exactly how I would picture Mahalie Lancaster. She's like, I'm done with you people. I died. Bye, bitches.
Did my time.
Peace out, bitches.
But I think it's even in her death, but the fact that she angered these spirits so heavily, like, what? I would love to know that.
She's just an ornery lady in general, and the spirits were just offended by her demeanor.
Did she take secrets that they didn't want her to tell? Did she tell you stuff she shouldn't have said? Like, I would love to know, because like I said, the spiritual activity and the violence, nobody's ever linked it back to her. Just something being done to her grave. That's why we gotta go out there.
Yeah, I'm on board.
Yeah, and people have gone out there and tried to speak with her. A lot of paranormal investigations have happened at her grave and her house, and
she might not have none of it. She might be like, nah, I did it.
She's
done. To kind of show you, she told my grandma that 2 of the little ones in our family would be shot. She told my mother-in-law that she'd have 3 redheaded daughters. She didn't sugarcoat anything. She was like, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
The end. And it wasn't like she was trying to get more money out of them. Literally, you paid your $1.10.
She told you.
Yeah. You rolls the dice, you takes your chances.
She's just exactly what I want to be when I grow up. I want to be an ornery medium who lives out in the woods and tells you to get off my lawn when I die.
She was pretty much a swamp hag. Like, she didn't live in the swamp. But what you would think of it, like, she lived in her shack, and you'd come to see her in a horse and buggy, or there's the dirt road that led her right up to her house. And, and that's the other thing. Even now, do you know there's a road named after John Wallace? And they've never changed the name of it. So the most... highly profiled band at the time got a road named after him. But if you go down John Wallace Road, it's a one lane road, and then it splits. And so many times there's trees that are fall and are dragged over to the lane that goes down towards Mahaley's house. So
that's just John Wallace pissed off at that point.
Probably. Like, nobody's fucking going to see her.
I mean, it sounds crazy, but he was the richest white guy to get the death penalty in Georgia.
Yeah.
Like,
it wouldn't surprise me if, out of spite, it could be his spirit that's fucking with her grave. Like, you just don't know.
Creepy.
I want to know, though. I think people should go out there and ask this. Like, hey, John Wallace.
I can throw on my best Southern voice and we can really get after him.
Let's do it.
Really talk to him in a fashion he's accustomed to.
We are close to spooky season too. So
Spoopy.
I love spooky.
Man, I want to go see Mahaley's grave tonight. Oh, and you know there's a band called Mahaley's grave.
I do. If you're interested, you can look them up. I am not interested.
We heard them at Dunk's Barbecue that time, Becky.
Oh, did we?
Perspective.
Remember yeah, where we did when we did the walk.
Yeah,
I gotcha.
Yeah, that was Mahaley's grave singing.
Were they any good?
I don't remember. I think we were more excited about the grave walking.
They play some of the historical stuff at the old train depot, and the Coweta Historical Society has like events there. They'll sometimes be playing.
That's wholesome.
So they're interesting.
You can go check them out if you want.
Older people love them. Like, those people are out there. Yeah, this is good.
Oh, boomer music. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Like, really old Southern.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's real old Southern music, but I mean, it's a good atmospheric music. Like when we did the cemetery walk, it's like, okay, you can get behind that. I wish they would have been a little bit more quieter when you're actually in the cemetery, but otherwise it was fine. But we went it was like dusk, twilight night.
Such a good tour.
It was a really good tour.
Yeah, they do good work.
I loved it.
Which you found out, and we didn't know this until that tour, that back in the day when Noonan was first settled, the guy who came in and built up the cotton factories and stuff refused to allow slavery. He was like, I will take all it, because he was from the north. He was like, nope. If you have slavery in this county or in this city, we're taking our business elsewhere. And they were like, oh, okay, they abolished slavery here.
Yeah, you just don't hear about slave owners here.
No.
Yeah, so it's like, and it makes more sense when, Sherman came down, why he didn't burn Noonan to the ground.
Well, we also were working on the Union troops that were hurt too. That was kind of the deal.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
We're also not.
But hey, we don't have slaves, and
So even then, like, that side of it, I don't think he would have cared about. Slavery or not, I don't think it was.
Yeah, it wasn't really about slavery.
Yeah, for him it was, we're going to decimate and cut them off from any goods and services until they give up. Like, the end.
True. Facts are true.
But we had 7 hospitals and we worked on Confederate and Union. So they were like,
and
you know what?
And the homes opened up.
Yeah, everybody.
Yeah.
We just took everybody in. Like, if you're hurt, we will try to fix you.
Yeah.
And that was why he spared us.
The city of homes.
All right.
Alrighty. Okay, Bobby, you want to make some sort of reference to where they can find us?
Speaking of homes.
You can find us behind this.
Yeah. Behind what?
I don't know. We said behind it like 5 seconds
the
ago.
The marble in your butt?
It's not a marble, honey.
Well, if you're looking for us, we're on Spotify, YouTube, WikiGeeks, WibbyGeeks.
OnlyFans.
OnlyFeets.
I had some people inquire as to when our website is going up for OnlyFeets because they need
I've
money.
Got emails.
Ooh,
Have they sent me pictures yet? Because they ain't getting dick.
No, they haven't sent anything yet.
We just need to set up. We've got to get together and set up that.
No.
Chris, they're not getting dick, they're getting feet.
Yeah, if they ain't getting any money until I get feet pics.
Yeah.
Which
just
sounds
cut
horrible.
That.
Please don't send me feet pics if you're not going to be on our website.
I'm just literally going to cut that part.
Well, I'm sending
and just leave it.
Oh, as soon as I get home, you guys are getting feet pics.
My email is bobby666@gmail.com.
That's not even mine, you fucking moron. Good try. Not even close. God damn it.
Come up with something else.
Bobby loves dicks 6969.
That's it.
Be more creative.
His email is bob69@gspot.com.
Hey, like
you think he's ever found the G spot?
Oh.
Sick birds, bro.
I'm lonely.
You going out tonight?
Okay. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Love y'all.
I like the Ouija board. Goodbye.
I'm going to crawl underneath the table.